they got that original part of the building built, which is basically just like, you see where that stone wall is there?
Yeah.
Like just that part. Like I think including the library too, but basically just that part. And then later on in the 90s, so that's, like 20 years later or whatever, a woman, as a part of her estate after she passed away, they donated the money to add the addition on. So since the 70s, it's been kind of growing, both in number and in size, as far as the building goes. Then we have our nature center, like trails and stuff, that has been like the same size basically the entire time. So it's a nature preserve as a part of the Milwaukee County Park System. So the parks had set aside land for all these different parks, right, that you see throughout the Milwaukee County area, and this was one of them. At one time it was used before they set it aside so that it could be conserved, it was like farmland, so they actually farmed the area up in the woods there, and then it was like graze land as well for like animals and whatnot. So it was set aside so that it could not be any further developed, which is good because you can see houses like and apartments like on the ridge around the entire property here, and there's lots of stuff around here, but it can never be developed because it's set aside as a nature preserve. So then over time, we, I think that was one of the first things that they did actually in the 70s, was to actually start to recreate the prairie. So to turn what was like grazeland and farmland into more of what it looked like before that, what it naturally wanted to be, which was a prairie and savanna. So that restoration work or recreation of the prairie started very early on, and then from there it just kind of expanded throughout. So we have a prairie, we have an oak savanna, we have a wetland, woods, we have a lake, and we have a waterfall. So we have a lot of like really cool natural features within only 220 acres. So that's kind of a lot. Where you may go somewhere and it's just all woods, or you may go somewhere and it's just one huge prairie. This is like all these little kind of mini ecosystems all put together. So in thinking like way before that, even before the Friends started in the 30s, the Civilian Conservation Corps, which is known as the CCC, a group of workers came and dug out the lake. So they dug that out. There was no lake. It was just like a stream there. So they dug that out and created the lake and then built the waterfall. Have you guys walked to the waterfall before?
Yeah.
Okay. So that is man-made, but it was made to, be a part of the nature center here.
Yeah, I think me and him took a walk like last year around here.
Yeah.
This stream is really cool, like how it winds.
Yep.
So small, and then it opens
exactly.
up.
Yep.
And where does that stream go from here?
Well, basically, we're a part of the. Basically, it will continue past the waterfall, and then eventually it will end up in Lake Michigan. Really? So that's where all of our water will eventually end up. Yeah.
What different activities you have for kids that come here? And do you work with schools? Do schools plan field trips here? And what do they do when they come here?
So we have school field trip programs and school outreach programs where we're dealing directly with kids that are K to 12, actually even 3-year-olds and stuff, goes as young. We have an early childhood program and K to 12. So I'll talk about that first. That is basically covering any topics from, the seasons to habitat to soil, ecosystems, water study, all of those different topics that, have to do with the world around us. So kids come in here and they do an hour and a half or 2-hour program. We teach them about the environmental education aspect, and then we take them out for a hike. So they get to actually explore the nature center, or we take the show on the road. We take them and do an outreach program in a park or at their school or at a library, and then we always try and integrate a hike into that as well. So they're exploring the world around them wherever they are. So those are the K-12 programs, and then we have kids programs for little ones here. They come in once a month and do a program on a different topic. Those are called Little Wonders, and then the older kids are called Nature Nauts. And then we have adult programs as well. So whether that be bat night or wreath making or we had a mushroom identification workshop, a whole bunch of different stuff. And then many of those things are also family programs. And then we have what's called like public events. So we have Bug Day, Reptile Day, Cider Sunday, Halloween Haunts, which are big kind of productions where the public comes in, usually, pays like a pretty small fee, and then they can enjoy the event. And then
Do you have like China lights too?
that is actually part of the park system, but not at all the nature center. That is the Berner Botanical Gardens. So at the nature center here, I'm a county park employee, and most people are around here, although there are some University of Wisconsin Extension staff here too. And then we have our Friends of Ware organization, which is our nonprofit that supports what we do. So people are members of the Friends of Ware, and people are volunteers and things, and those are different ways that they can give to the nature center and support what we do here.
Is this private owned or is it county?
This is a county facility.
Yeah.
Right? So the building, essentially, and the grounds are operated by the Milwaukee County Parks. However, many of our education programs, our building renovations, our, trail upgrades, like our accessibility project and stuff, are all funded and supported by the Friends of Ware Nature Center. So our place here would look very different if it weren't for the support of the nonprofit, because all of the extra stuff you could say that we want to do to make our place really high quality and really really good facility is supported by the Friends. So it's kind of interesting because we're a public facility, but we're really a combination of three things, and that's the extension, the cooperative extension, University Cooperative Extension, the Milwaukee County Parks, and then Friends of Ware Nature Center. So, for example, if you go, which I encourage you to go to the website, which is friendsofware.org, you'll find, all the information, what is the mission, more about the history to get exact dates. If you need that, there's, an interactive timeline there that you can click on, which is cool. So, the website and, our marketing and our volunteer operations, that's all supported financially by the Friends. So... And that's another thing I should throw in there too, is that we have, I'd probably say we have over 500 volunteers in our database, but 300 that are really active. And their efforts equal over 14,000 hours a year.
Wow.
So it's a lot. It basically equals 15 full-time employees or whatever.
Wow,
so
that's crazy.
So it's a lot. I mean, people, and that's, people like you guys that are doing service related to school, high school and college, university. And then many people who are retired that come in, and this is kind of their retired job, and they'll come in multiple times per week. And then you have other people that just come and work our special events. Yeah, just come and volunteer for special events. So really, without them as a part of that group cooperating, we wouldn't be able to do, half of what we do now. So
What kind of animals do you have back there?
we have snakes, turtles, frogs, and I can show you guys in there too if you want.
Yeah.
Sure.
Michaela. Oh, Frank.
You don't like snakes, Franklin?
Oh, boy.
What kind of snake is that?
He's a fox snake.
Does that mean he kills foxes?
So,
He's pretty chill.
and Frank was kind of interesting. When he started off, he was brought in right from the wild, so he was not like a pet snake or anything like that, and he did not want to be here at first. It probably took him, would you say, 3 months maybe at least for anybody to be able to hold him. Yep. Because he would bite, he would attack, go after you, and
He rattles his tail like a rattlesnake, but he's not a rattlesnake.
yeah.
He just does that.
So of all the snakes we have in Wisconsin, there's only 2 that are venomous, right? And neither of them live here in the Milwaukee area, so you're safe.
Wait, that was found here. The snake.
Nearby, yep,
Nearby.
yeah. So they're and you want to feel them? They're really nice and soft. Oh, come on, guys, guys.
He won't do anything to you. Just pet him from this finger to this one.
Oh.
Yep.
Interesting.
Nice, right?
Yeah.
You ever pet a snake before?
I think I went to something with like my
Yeah,
school once
Yeah.
where we did, but
I love like the bottom
I
of.
usually
I
try
love
to
like
stay
the
away
checkered
from
kind of
snakes.
pattern on his underside there.
yeah.
But animals are a really important part of what we do here, you know, because just like kind of the interaction, thanks Michaela,
Yep.
that you guys had, you know, at first, sometimes we have like built up barriers to, you know, spiders or cockroaches or snakes or things like that, or even, well, most people aren't afraid of turtles, but you know, it's just like maybe your parents are afraid of it, or maybe you got scared by something one time and you have like these, you know, these barriers to you know, embracing those animals. So we have animals that are super low key and harmless. You know, we would never have anything that would hurt people in here. So kids have that, and adults have that opportunity to interact with the animals in a safe way, so that they can say, oh, you know, they are really cool. Oh, what? They do that? Or they, you know, they shed their skin, they eat their skin. What? It's like each animal has a really crazy story to tell, their life history. And by getting really excited about those animals that we have called our animal ambassadors, we can help people to be better friends and better neighbors to animals. So another thing, important part of what we do here is help people with those animal and nature interactions. People call us and they say, I found this in my basement, or, you know, blah, blah, blah. Like, what do I do? So instead of people, like, killing the animal or, you know, whatever, we can actually get them to bring it in or take it into the animal, the Humane Society, to the rehab, the wildlife rehab. If they see things on the trail here, like an animal that approaches them, maybe that animal's sick. So really getting people to be able to properly identify, you know, like how they move forward with their animal interactions and have, you know, them be positive rather than something scary. So, because we've got our largest animal that we have here is a deer. You probably could tell
There's
that.
probably a lot of those. Right?
They're a lot. Yeah. I want to say there's like 300 or so in the park.
I always see him cause my brother always goes to the
Yeah, yeah. And I mean they're super cool, and they're very used to humans, obviously,
Yeah.
because they're in the park, and some people feed them, which is really bad, but you know, then they're more likely to come up close to you. But also that's a bad thing, right? Because that means that they're less afraid of roads and cars and things like that. And I just heard that I think we moved up a step in like the deer collisions. I think we're number 5 in the nation or something. For how many people are in deer collisions.
I always shoot my bow at the range up here,
Yep.
and they'll just like walk out like right down that hill. And they just
Oh, across on 92nd Street over there. Yeah.
They're just like you're shooting and like they're just looking at you.
They're like, yeah, okay, this is all right. Yeah. So yeah, they're not afraid, and you know, we find that when we go to other parks too, like, you know, the geese or the ducks that come right up to you, you know, because people feed them and whatnot. So it's like, okay, we want people to enjoy nature and enjoy wildlife, but how can we have them do that without actually putting those animals in danger, you know? Also put people in danger, because if those geese have been fed and you walk up to them, they can get really mad and they can actually bite you. So it doesn't work for anybody, like feeding the animals, but yeah, so that's just the kind of another piece of what we do here, is trying to make those interactions positive and get people to value and appreciate nature so that they can want to protect it, right? Yeah. So we have the animals, we have the educational programming, we have the public events, but then the other piece that I shouldn't forget to mention is the idea that it's a place that people can walk. So there's like a parking fee of $3 per car, but there's no entrance fee to like come in here and do the trails. So people can do that like all year round, every day of the week. So it's a place for exercise, place for people to get like peace of mind, and you know, place for, you know, families to enjoy nature together. So that part about being like an open resource for people to use, I think, is really important as well. So
Cool.
There are a lot of fish in that lake down there.
yeah, there are. And, you know, we don't allow fishing here since it is a nature preserve. So really there's no hunting, no fishing, and no collecting of materials. So like people can't come and like pick plants or collect walnuts or whatever.
You know, like the woods like managed or like harvested.
No, so not for like lumber or anything like that. No, we do have like a management sort of philosophy that we're trying to pursue is or to try and manage some of the species that are not either invasives, get rid of those, or cutting down trees that are competing with our bigger trees, so that something like the big old oak trees that are like 100 years old or whatever can continue to live without having other species compete with them. So you may come out here sometime and see people with a chainsaw out there, like, what is going on? This is supposed to be a nature center, preserve, whatever. Controlling certain species of trees or shrubs or whatever is a part of that. So sometimes you have to remove things in order for other things to grow.
Nice woods, like I've been back there.
Yeah.
A lot of big trees and like.
And especially these. Well, we have like our maple sugar woods, which is like the big old maple trees that we tap for maple syrup. And then back here, I think is what you're talking about, the big oak trees that are huge. That's actually pretty unique because sometimes now with those oak trees being so old and other big trees throughout the park system, if they're not cared for, now's the point where they start dying. They start breaking basically and just falling apart. You hit that point where it's like those are precious because they're so old that you got to really take care of them. So yeah.
I don't have any other questions either.
What do you think? What do you think we're gonna be doing for our certain
for your project? Oh crap! I was supposed to call my boss before you guys got here so I could explain that to you. Oops. But you're going to be working on some trail stuff, so trail maintenance, along with one of the natural resource folks from the Parks Department will actually come here and work with you on doing some trail. I think it's like renovating a trail, so you'll be doing outside stuff. It will be, more like physical. It won't be hard, but you'll be able to like learn about like how to maintain a trail and maybe what kind of species are out there of trees and shrubs and things like that. And honestly, that kind of project, your week will go a lot faster, and if you're like cutting things out or whatever. So I think you guys will really enjoy it. You'll probably learn a lot. It's a good experience, right? And be outside to do it as well. The other thing is you guys are supposed to do 2 hours of volunteering during Halloween. So like before your week of service, and I think and that's like what your program has set up for you, right? So I have some suggestions, or one suggestion for one thing that might work out well. If you guys are free on Wednesdays typically, or no? No,
because
Soccer. Any of
Soccer,
football.
No, I'll be good. Like not next week, but the following. I could probably come.
Okay, so Wednesday is the what is that? The 18th.
Oh yeah.
So that's that was one that I just had down here because they're doing like the special effects setup for Halloween. So they'll be doing like all the lighting and hanging stuff and like the decorating stuff. Otherwise, other than that, we can look at the actual Halloween event, which is the 19th, 20th, and 21st. It's a Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Basically, each of those 3 nights, we're like here doing our Halloween event. So.
What usually is like.
The Halloween event?
Yeah.
Oh, it's awesome. So.